Here we go. Okay. Thank you all so much for hopping on tonight. So one of the things I want to talk to y'all about tonight is accountability and why it is so important in this industry that we are in. So accountability. So sometimes I feel like this word can have a very negative connotation because it kind of makes you feel like you have to be the bad guy, and it can sometimes be like the precursor to some sort of a consequence. Like when you say, I'm going to hold you accountable for your actions, you tend to think of that in a negative way. But I want y'all to kind of view this word accountability in a more positive tone, and to see it as a very, very important part of our daily income producing activity, and in order to have a team that is in momentum and growth, it is needed. And I want you to think about it as how well am I able to account for the performance of my team? And if you have one person on your team, you are a leader and you have a team. So start owning yourself as a leader, because you've brought somebody on and they are doing this with you and you are leading them. And if you don't have a team and you're on this call tonight, I mean, bravo, because you're on your way to joining one. You are drawing your line in the sand. If you're coming up and showing up to these meetings, that's a sign to me that it's not long until you're going to start growing your team, because you're doing all the right things. So start taking notes if you don't have a team yet. And if you do, you're a leader. So make sure you see yourself as that. And so if you have a team, I want to ask you tonight, what are the goals of your level ones on your team? If I were to ask you that, could you sit down right now with a piece of paper and write down all your level ones and what their goals are? And do you even know the level ones that you have brought into this business who want the business right now? Because I know for me personally, I can be super, super guilty of bringing people in and then just almost forget. I mean, there have been months where I've signed 4 or 5 people and I have literally, I feel horrible saying this, will go through and be like, oh my gosh, I forgot that person joined me earlier this month. And that is on us. Like, we have got to make sure that we as leaders are bringing these people in and holding them accountable. So I want that to be your goal, is to know what your goals are of your people and how to keep them accountable, and how you can help keep them accountable for reaching those goals. So how do we do this? So I'm sort of starting something new, and I started it this week to kind of do a test run before I wanted to bring it to y'all, and what is called accountability calls. Now, these are different than coaching calls or other things that you may have seen done in the past. It is simply a way to make sure that we are keeping in touch with our level ones and making sure that they're doing the work that they want to be doing. So here's why these are crucial. I feel like when somebody joins us, no matter what their goal, most of the time, they're going to work this business if we explain it really well for them and if it's really simple to follow. They're going to do it because, I mean, people want to be successful at this. But the problem is, 5 minutes later, after you explain it to them and make it super simple for them, like a squirrel runs by and you've forgotten. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, with this business, the buy-in is so low, and it is so easy because there's not a whole lot on the line. Like, we haven't put a ton out there. So people jump in and they jump right out right afterwards. And it's why you may see, well, I added, 20 people to my team this month, but my points have moved nowhere. Like, what's going on? And it's because there's not a whole lot on the line for people. Like, they'll jump in, they'll jump out. Maybe we're not holding them accountable for taking their products even. Maybe it's something as simple as that and not as grand as helping them reach some massive goal. So I want you to really realize what a key part of this is to the foundation of a successful team. So scrolling down here for just a second, let me find my next.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh yes, go for it.
Okay, so these accountability calls are not just for runners. These are for wholesale people too.
Yes, thank you so much. And that was the next thing I was going to say. So here's the cool thing about this. I feel like in the past we've done groups that have been like the Maui runner page, or it's for somebody who wants to be all in, and we're asking for super big commitments from people. And you know what? That's not for everybody. Our team is going to have a dynamic of people who you have your hardcore runners, and you have your people who they do want a business, but they just want to work 20 minutes a day. Like that is their time that they have set for them. And that's great. Like I want our job here as leaders to be excited for those people who jump in and tell them, that's fantastic. You can work 20 minutes a day and we could probably get you to Silver Ambassador in the next few months. And that's going to make enough to pay for your products and bring in a little extra money a month. And for some people, that is exciting to them. That's what they want. So don't go in thinking that we know the goals of everybody that we want from this, or expecting the people who we're holding accountable to all be your, future diamonds, because if not everybody wants to be that, and that's okay. So that was a great question, Tammy. So first thing, when we do this, I want you to reach out to everyone that you have brought in this business, even the people who maybe haven't ordered in the last year, and find out, do you have any, and here's the thing, and here's where it might be hard, because we have to be fully honest with where we might have failed them in the past. And it might take going to someone saying, I know when I brought you into this, I didn't really mentor you the way I should have. Would you be willing to jump back in with me and do this? And I promise I will commit to a weekly phone call with you just to check in and make sure that you're getting your needs met. And so it's reaching out to those people, finding out, and it might be a lot of no's, but you might be shocked at the people who want to do this. There's been several that have told me, yeah, I'll do that, but honestly were not on my radar at all. They were not people that I thought would have any desire to do this. And so make sure you're reaching out to everyone, finding out what their goals is, and then seeing if they would want to be held accountable. They have to want this. They have to be willing to say yes to this, because it's a weekly commitment, but it's a very short weekly commitment. That's the other thing. I don't want these calls to be an hour long. This should not feel like just a ton of extra work for you. It should be very short, very sweet, 15 minutes max. But it might just be a 5-minute phone conversation. So something very short and sweet, just a checking in, being like, and these are also something that could work great for your customers, a 5-minute check-in to be like, hey, I'm just making sure that your products are still good this week. Are you using the restroom correctly? Are you feeling low in energy any times of the day? Are you having any detox symptoms? It's just a quick check-in. Now, when you're doing them with your team members, I have 3 different worksheets, and, different ones might work for different styles. I'm going to see if I can hold this one up so you can kind of see it. I have notes from a call I did yesterday all over it. But I send the worksheet to the person first. And I will say there's a lot of different spots on those worksheets. Not everyone's going to want to do all that's on here. So I tell them, fill out the spots that hit home with you, that you want to work on for this week. And then when I call, we'll talk through them. And so it has your goal for this week. I try to get them all to give me a goal. And that might be kind of the part that takes a little bit of coaching for somebody who hasn't been in this a while and it's like, I don't even know where to start. And that goal might be, take your products every day. Or that goal might be, let's start posting on social media again. I know one of my big goals for one of my people was, let's rewrite your testimony so we can revisit what these products are doing to you, because for a lot of people, we need to remember these are amazing products that we have. So try to get the goal out of them. Like on this sheet that I have right here, it has your top 3 dream doers. For someone that has a team, this might be their top 3 runners. If you don't have a team, this might be your top 3 dream teamers, the people you want to join. So you can kind of make that to fit in with the person that you're working with. It has a place for your monthly BHAG, which is your big goal. And another thing I like about this is that it has what their current PV is right now. So again, we're keeping them accountable. We're checking in. If it's the 25th of the month and their PV is at 0, I mean, this might be, something to be like, I know that you told me that you wanted to work this business and you were all in. And this might be someone who's saying, I want to work 2 hours a day. And I'm like, I'm still seeing your PV at 0. Like, what's happening? Like, are you reaching out to your prospects? Are we doing the work that you said you were going to be doing? So it's great to make sure and don't feel like, and remember, when you sign these people on to do these calls, first we found out what their goal was, what their initial commitment was to this business. And second, we found out if they want to be held accountable. If they say they want to be held accountable, don't feel bad for saying, your PV is lower than where we need it to be. Like, what are we doing that we need to work on? So it's a great way to make sure that we are meeting those needs of the people on our team and just holding them accountable since we've been doing the work. It usually is a very simple question of, I hate following up. That's why my PV is 0. Like, I don't want to reach out to these people. And sometimes it is literally just saying, okay, this is your goal this week. You're going to reach out to those people. We're going to do the hard things. So that's really kind of the bulk of what I wanted to talk to y'all tonight. It's kind of introduce this new thing I'm trying to implement with my level ones, because I've seen other leaders do it and having huge success with this. I'm using busybook.com. That's the app that I'm using for people to sign up for the calls. It's a very easy app for them to log in. And another thing I really, really, really want to encourage you, if you decide to do something like this, is to make sure you don't try to do it off the phone, because it really is powerful to pick up the phone and have that conversation. I know it's much more easy to send a text message or to get in a group chat, and sometimes I love three-way chats and I love doing chats over phone calls a lot, but there's power in hearing the other person's voice, so don't underestimate the importance of that. So try not to bypass that. So I want to hear what y'all think. Like, what are y'all's thoughts? Do y'all have any questions on this? Tammy, you got anything?
I do. Okay, so veteran, 4 years in, I'm still trepidatious about picking up the phone and calling people. I've been doing it more, and I'm more comfortable. How do I teach my other leaders not to get in their head and be fearful when they talk to their level ones? I think that, there's a lot of people, I'm sorry. I think there's a lot of people that they're so afraid they don't have the answers to what their level ones will ask. I mean, how do I just develop that confidence for people to actually pick up the phone?
And I do think having these worksheets are helpful, since they have the different sheets that they can use, so that they can, it gives people confidence in knowing exactly what we're going to talk about on these calls. And then just making sure that people are really, really confident with saying, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you. And that might be a great time to do three-way chats, making sure, or three-way calls, making sure that your team knows they can use you to answer that question. Like, it is okay to not know the answer. Like, be really, really comfortable with saying, I don't have the answer for that. Anybody else?
I've got something.
Okay.
So whenever I get ready to have one of those calls, I'll let mom know, my upline. I'm fixing to reach out to so-and-so and kind of just give her like a 2-minute background, because, you're talking to so many people and these kind of things. And that way she knows that if in like 5 minutes from them, I'm calling her, that she's expecting to do a conference call right then. So it kind of sets her and I both up for success on that part.
Yes, I love that. That's great. Yeah, so if you do have someone that's nervous about answering those questions, and they have that support ready to go.
Yeah.
Did you mention, you may have already said this and I may have missed it in the group team page as well, but are these worksheets as a file in the group, or where would we find these worksheets?
I haven't posted them yet, but I'm going to put them in the comments of the call tonight after the call. So y'all all have and I'm going to also post the link to the site that I'm using to schedule the calls. And again, on those phone calls, when you block them, like, you can put your time that you're available on the Busy Books, block it as 15-minute blocks, and make sure when that 15 minutes up, like, be very upfront with the people. This is going to be a 15-minute call. I'm going to respect your time. You're going to respect my time. And at the end of the 15 minutes, even if you're in the middle of talking, be like, this is a great thought. Let's catch up on this next week on our next week's call. So make sure you go back in, schedule another call, and we'll catch back up. So that way, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, along that same line, so you've got the worksheet and you're kind of following along with that, but like, as the person making the call, checking in on that, is there a separate list of questions or anything that you should kind of do? Like, here's week 1 accountability, here's week 2, here's what you should be asking as the weeks progress. I know everybody has a little different style on that, but
there's not. I mean, that's a great question. One thing that I've kind of envisioned with this is I've seen different other leaders do it and kind of pulled from them. I really don't want it to look different every week, because I think one thing that we tend to do as leaders is overcomplicate things, and we feel like a diamond ambassador is going to do something different than a silver ambassador, but really we're not. Like, we all should be doing the very same basic things week after week after week after week. And here's another reason why it's easy for people to quit is because it can feel monotonous. Like, if you don't have somebody holding you accountable to be like, did you post on Facebook today? Like, have you shared about Plexus? Have you, followed up with your prospects? It really is the basic work that we're doing every single week, and just making sure that people are doing the basic work. And I'm trying, I don't know if y'all have noticed, like on the team page and stuff too, I'm really trying hard to pull us back into the basics. I feel like we kind of got too far away for a while, and I think it's time to come back in. Let's learn about the products, let's share the products, let's share our testimonies, and let's keep each other accountable. Any other questions? So what do y'all think? Like, how do y'all feel about jumping into something like this?
I missed the first part, so I don't know what the jumping in is. I was actually doing a live on my team page, so I missed it.
Well, in a nutshell, it's just accountability calls. So it's doing calls with your level ones. And like I asked everyone in the beginning, basically, do you know the goal? If I asked you right now, do you know the goals of all of your level ones, and which ones want the business and what their goals are? Like, can you answer that? And I think most of us, usually the answer is no a lot of times. I know there are some of us that are very on top of it, but it can be one of the missing elements is we sign somebody up and we give them all the information, and we send them an email, and then we expect this is their business. They're going to run with this. So this is what I did with my business. But in reality, there's not a ton on the line. And it is our job as leaders to make sure we are holding people accountable.
I think that's where I've been lacking. And it's interesting that you're doing this, because I actually have a call with one of my new people who's wanting to work the business at 8:30. And it's a coaching call, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I'll send you the worksheet real fast before you do that.
I was like, oh, I have to find something. You know what? It was just something I know that is missing for me, and I didn't know where to start, and so I've just been searching and searching, and so it's perfect timing.
Good.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
From the Jules that are doing this and they're successful with it, do they think this is more about just developing the relationship, or is this having a hardcore like plan of action? Like, do I need to be making like a big board of my level ones and this is their goal? Is this methodical, or is this about relationships, or is there an answer to that?
Well, what I'm doing is I have in a Word file, I've typed out the highlights of each one of these points in a Word file. And so I'm taking notes on the paper, and then I'm putting it in the Word file and saving it as their name. So when I go back to them the next week, I can open up their file and be like, okay, last week you told me that your goal was to reach out to 3 people during the week. Did you do that? And then I can go to the next one. And you told me that you were going to friend 5 new people. Did you friend 5 new people this week? And then, so that's what it's good. So you do kind of have to keep some notes because we are holding them accountable for that. So we want to make sure they did what they told us they were going to do the week before, and then finding out what their goals are for the next week and moving forward. So, but don't overcomplicate it. Like, don't feel like you need to like have some huge board on your wall and
that's what I'm thinking in my mind.
Yeah.
So Nikki, I got a question. Is this something you start with someone right off the bat, kind of a deal of using these questions to kind of fill them out, unless they just, just like Debbie said, somebody says they want to do it and they're all in. You could use it for that also. So it doesn't really matter where they are. You can use it for everyone.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about this, because their goal for the week, like I have another girl who I'm doing this with, and she's not ready to share Plexus yet. Her goal right now is to watch videos and to learn more about the products. Like she's one that wants to be really, so that's our goal, you know, like she's not ready yet, and I'm not going to push her until she is. And where you have mine, another person, their goal might be to, you know, message 100 people this week, you know, so it is definitely going to look totally different for each person that you're talking to. And I know that like I've seen some leaders do it where they do them in groups. They're grouping 3 or 4 people together and they're doing accountability Zooms. I like the more personal aspect of doing them individually. So it could be something that you might toy with, and it might look different for you and your team. And, you know, maybe the group setting ones, maybe you have 3 or 4 personalities that are very similar that might ride off of each other. But I've just found I've tried to do group things before. They haven't been as successful as just that individual relationship with the person. But yeah. So y'all excited to go hold everyone accountable? Well, awesome. Well, thank y'all for hopping on tonight. Like I said, it's not really rocket science, but I just think it's getting back to those basics and making sure that we are, you know, we're doing what we promised our people we would when we first got them to sign on with us, and making sure that we are, you know, running with them and not asking them to run alone. But, well, y'all have a great night, and thanks for joining me.